You've been taught that success is about addition. Add more skills, more connections, more productivity hacks, more morning routines, more habits, more goals, more. And so you keep adding. You add a meditation practice, a side hustle, a networking group, a gym membership, a reading list, a course, a commitment, another commitment. And you tell yourself, this is how I grow. This is how I become better. This is how I build the life I want. But here's what nobody tells you. At some point, addition becomes subtraction. Every new thing you add takes space from something else, takes time from something else, takes energy from something else. And eventually, you look at your life and realize you're drowning in opportunities, suffocating under goals, paralyzed by options. You're not failing because you're not doing enough. You're failing because you're doing too much, and none of it well. Today, we're going to talk about the most underrated skill in personal growth, the one that nobody teaches because it doesn't sell courses or look good on Instagram. It's called subtraction, the art of removing, the discipline of saying no, the courage to let go. And it might be the most important thing you ever learn. Let's start by understanding why you keep adding. We live in a culture of accumulation. More is always better. More followers, more income, more experiences, more achievements. And there's an entire industry built on feeding that hunger. Every book, every podcast, every video, including this one, is trying to give you something, a framework, a strategy, a perspective. And you consume it all. You take notes, you make plans, you promise yourself you'll implement it, but you never do because you're already implementing 17 other things and there's no room. This is the addition trap. You keep collecting tools, but you never build anything. You keep planting seeds, but you never water them. You keep starting, but you never finish. And the worst part? You blame yourself. I just need better discipline. I just need better time management. I just need to work harder. But that's not the problem. The problem is you're trying to do everything. And when you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing. Let me give you an example. You decide you want to get healthy. So you add a morning workout, a meal prep routine, a meditation practice, a sleep schedule, a supplement regimen. And for 2 weeks, you're crushing it. You feel unstoppable. You feel like you finally figured it out. And then life happens. A busy week at work, a family emergency, a sick kid, and the whole system collapses because it was built on addition, on perfect execution, on having enough time and energy for everything. But you don't. Nobody does. Or this. You want to advance your career, so you add a certification course, a networking event every week, a side project, a mentorship relationship, a personal brand on social media. And now you're working 50 hours a week at your job and another 20 hours on career development. And you're exhausted. And your relationships are suffering. And you're wondering why you can't sustain it. It's because you built your life by addition. And addition has a limit. Eventually you hit capacity. And then everything breaks. But there's another way. A way that's less sexy, less exciting, but far more sustainable. It's called subtraction. And it's not about doing less because you're lazy. It's about doing less so you can do what matters more. So how do you practice subtraction? How do you figure out what to remove? It starts with an audit. Not of what you want to add, but of what's already there. Here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and write down everything you're currently committed to. Not what you wish you were doing. What you're actually doing, your job, your relationships, your hobbies, your habits, your subscriptions, your obligations, your goals, everything. Now, next to each one, ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1, does this align with my values? Not your aspirations, your actual values. The things that when you're on your deathbed, you'll be glad you prioritized. If the answer is no, if this is something you're doing because you think you should, because someone else wants you to, because it looks good on paper, mark it for removal. Question 2, does this energize me or deplete me? We talked about this in the last video, but it applies here too. Some commitments give you energy. They make you feel more alive, more yourself, more connected to your purpose. Other commitments drain you They make you feel less alive, less yourself, farther from who you want to be. If it depletes you and doesn't align with your values, mark it for removal. Question 3. If I were starting from 0 today, would I add this back in? This is the most important question, because most of the things in your life aren't there because you chose them. They're there because you never unchose them. You joined that committee 3 years ago and just kept showing up. You started that habit because a book told you to and never questioned it. You stayed in that friendship because it was easier than having the conversation. But if you were starting fresh, with full awareness of your capacity, your values, and your energy, would you choose this? If the answer is no, mark it for removal. Now, look at your list, look at everything you marked for removal, and here's where it gets hard. You're gonna feel guilty, you're gonna feel like you're quitting, like you're letting people down, like you're giving up on yourself. But you're not. You're making space. Space for the things that actually matter. Space for the things you're too busy to prioritize right now. Because here's the truth. You can't add what matters until you remove what doesn't. Now comes the hardest part, actually removing things. Because subtraction isn't just practical, it's emotional. Every commitment you've made represents a version of yourself, a hope, a promise, an identity. And letting go of those commitments feels like letting go of those possibilities, like admitting you're not who you thought you'd be. But here's what you need to understand. Subtraction isn't failure, it's focus. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to something that does. Every time you remove a commitment that drains you, you're creating space for a commitment that energizes you. This is strategic quitting. Not the kind of quitting that comes from fear or laziness. The kind that comes from clarity, from knowing what matters and having the courage to protect it. Let me give you some examples of what this looks like in practice. You've been in a book club for 2 years. You joined because you wanted to read more, but you dread it every month. The books don't interest you. The conversations feel forced, and it's taking up your only free evening of the week. Subtraction says, quit the book club, not because reading doesn't matter, but because this specific structure doesn't work for you. And once you remove it, you'll have space to read in a way that actually energizes you. Or this. You've been posting on social media because you think you should build a personal brand, but you hate it. It feels performative. It drains your energy. And you're not even sure what you're trying to accomplish. Subtraction says, delete the app. Not because visibility doesn't matter, but because this version of visibility is costing more than it's giving. And once you remove it, you'll have space to focus on work that actually builds your reputation. Or this. You've been saying yes to every networking event, every coffee meeting, every opportunity to connect, because you've been told that's how you succeed. But you're exhausted, and you're not building deep relationships. You're collecting business cards and shallow conversations. Subtraction says, say no to 90% of it. Keep the relationships that actually matter, the ones that energize you, the ones where the connection is real. And let the rest go. This isn't antisocial. This is intentional. This is protecting your capacity for what actually matters. Here's what happens when you practice subtraction. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You feel guilty. You feel like you're missing out. You feel like you're not doing enough. But then something shifts. You realize you have space to think, space to breathe, space to do the things you said mattered but never had time for. You realize you're not less productive, you're more focused, because you're not spreading yourself across 20 priorities. You're concentrating on 3. You realize your relationships improve, not because you're spending time with more people, but because you're spending quality time with the right people. You realize your work improves, not because you're working more hours, but because you're working on the right things with the right energy. This is the power of less. It's not about minimalism for the sake of minimalism. It's about making space for what matters by removing what doesn't. And here's the paradox. The less you do, the more you accomplish. Because you're not just busy, you're effective. But this requires a mindset shift. You have to stop measuring your worth by how much you're doing and start measuring it by how well you're doing what matters. You have to stop being impressed by your own busyness and start being honest about whether you're actually moving toward the life you want. You have to stop adding and start subtracting. And that's uncomfortable because addition feels like progress. Subtraction feels like retreat. But subtraction is how you create the conditions for real growth. Growth that's sustainable. Growth that's intentional. Growth that doesn't require you to sacrifice your health, your relationships, or your sanity. Let me tell you what subtraction has given me. It's given me the space to do my best work. Not because I'm doing more, but because I'm doing less. And what I'm doing well. It's given me the energy to show up for the people I love. Not because I have more time, but because I'm not depleting myself on commitments that don't matter. It's given me the clarity to know what I actually want, not what I think I should want, not what looks impressive, what actually resonates. And it's given me the peace that comes from knowing that I'm living intentionally. I'm not just reacting to every opportunity. I'm choosing consciously, deliberately. So here's my challenge. This week, don't add anything. Don't start a new habit. Don't sign up for a new course. Don't make a new commitment. Instead, remove one thing. Just one. Something that you've been carrying that doesn't serve you. Something that depletes you. Something that, if you're honest, you know doesn't align with who you're becoming. And notice what happens. Notice the space that opens up. Notice the relief. Notice the energy that returns. Because you don't need more. You need less. Less clutter, less noise, less obligation, less guilt. And when you remove what doesn't matter, what does matter becomes undeniable. So stop adding, start subtracting. Your life is not a resume. It's not a highlight reel. It's not a performance. It's the small number of things you choose to pour yourself into. Fully, intentionally, wholeheartedly. Choose wisely, choose less, and watch what happens when you finally have space to focus. Now go remove something.